Badgers Volleyball is almost here. We are previewing a loaded, absolutely loaded weekend. Locked on Badgers. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this community. Locked On is the #1 sports podcast network, and we are so stoked to have you here. Today's guest, we got Kate Fox joining the show. Kate Fox works over at Wisco Zone. I saw you. We were talking about this before. I saw you at the alumni event, right? A little bit, and I just wanted to start with the alumni event and how cool that was and what it speaks to the culture of this program.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the in-game host for the Badgers, I feel like I can feel the energy when there's a shift or a difference and when the fans are really excited. So when we were at the alumni event, it was palpable. Like the people in the audience were so excited. And that's an interesting match because the two sides are people that you both really, really want to succeed. And players that for the little girls or people in the audience have looked up to for a really, really long time. So being able to see them compete again was awesome. People like Sarah Franklin, I mean, that is just a Badger star right there. And she did an incredible job of competing against what is our current Badgers. What I think is really interesting about that alumni event too is that they practiced for a couple of days before the alumni event. And Kelly and the players have talked about that, where they actually got to learn from one another and talk about what they see and at a professional level, how they read the court. And with such a young group of Badger volleyball players on our roster this year, 11 newcomers, 9 freshmen, I think that that's going to give them some knowledge that they wouldn't have gotten if they were just playing against another exhibition match like Butler, which was great in itself. But I think that alumni match is just going to do numbers for them moving forward into this difficult preseason.
Yeah, and I was worried when I first read about the alumni match, the Badger pros coming in. I was worried because sometimes events like that, the players coming back don't take it seriously, right? It's almost more of a gimmick. It was not that.
Oh, no. I mean, I felt that the Badger volleyball returners playing against the Badger volleyball alums, it was a fight and a battle on who owns this court and who's excited to beat, the other person's butt. So I was happy that they played really hard. I think they all talked about how Badger volleyball has this sense of we bring it. And they just kept bringing that up again and again. We bring it, we bring the energy, we bring the fight. The best thing about us is our culture. And so what would it do for the culture if they came in and kind of played halfway? And I just want to make sure I don't get injured. I thought that the alums absolutely brought it. And so did the people who were playing on the Fieldhouse court for the first time, especially Aubrey Flanagan. That was just absolutely impressive by the freshman.
She was incredible. And to the point where some of those Badger pros were talking about her post-match, like how impressive she was.
Yeah, I think it was Sarah Franklin, right? She says Audrey's going to be incredible. The cut shot is something that, as a defender, you can't really defend that very well because when the two blocks go up out in front of the outside hitter's hands, it's just a read typically. You read if the hands are closed, you're going to go right in between, line to seam. If the block isn't completely up, you might be able to get around it in the line position. But when you have a cut shot, that left back has to make sure that they are making a decision on if you're potentially going to go cross. If you're cutting it, you have to have that off blocker make a decision on if they're going to go cover that into the court. Now, if that off blocker makes that decision, then they are not going to be any position to have an in-system attack. So especially with Audrey's cut shot, just like Sarah Franklin said, I think it was Sarah, I think that's going to be really, really lethal for the Badgers moving forward.
She was incredible. And you imagine as a freshman, you talked about it coming in, and then you have Sarah Franklin talking about you. Yeah, what a legend, right? And she was so humble about it too. Audrey was so humble post-game. She gave a lot of credit to her teammates and coach and I'm just there to make those plays that were set up for me. Really,
yeah, she gave me an open net. I mean, yeah, but if you have an open net, you still got to put some balls down. And she was finishing in front of four hands a lot. So I'm really excited to see what she can do moving forward. And Kelly's actually talked about how Aubrey is a little bit weird in the way that she's won all of these awards going into college, and she's been on national teams, but she carries herself as if she's never won anything, and she doesn't have any cockiness or swagger. And he said, maybe one day she'll carry herself like a Mimi or a Sarah Franklin, but for now she's doing exactly what she does, and it's very silent. And a silent killer in volleyball can be really difficult.
Yeah, I tweeted out at the event because I'm a big football, basketball guy as well. I know I've seen you at football practices, but those sports are they've moved into a bit of a different world in college sports, for better or worse. With NIL and some of, and it feels like fans have seen that. And when you go to watch a Badgers volleyball match, it feels like the essence of college sports is still alive there, right? Like it just feels different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the season ticket holders who have been a part of Badger volleyball for so long are still at who they are at their core. They just want the Badgers to win. And it doesn't feel like in volleyball, either one, it's not marketed as much what you're paying the players and all of the business side of things, or two, is just not as big of a deal. Kelly talks about how agents are more involved, but at the end of the day, we just need to be able to win volleyball games. So I really appreciate how volleyball kind of seems pure in the way that NIL hasn't touched it yet, but I'm just fingers crossed that it doesn't get to a point. Now, talking about the transfer portal, it absolutely is a thing. And if players play well, for example, Ava Travis had a great time at UC Santa Barbara, I believe, and she's leading the conference or top 3, I think, in kills per set. She comes over to the Badgers. I mean, there was definitely a deal there. There was definitely some money. She played really well at one of the mid-major schools. She's going to come on over to the Badgers in the Big Ten. So we can't say that NIL hasn't touched the Badgers, but we can say that when you go to the field house, there's no better feeling than just watching these girls compete with nothing about them. They're just going to win a volleyball game.
It's special. And speaking of special, this weekend, starting Friday, you're opening up with Kentucky, who, coincidentally was the last team you played last year, right?
Yeah.
Preview this kind of this weekend and just the absolute loaded slate for the Badgers and everybody else there.
For sure. I mean, the teams that they got to come to Fiserv this year are mind-blowing. I think this is something that no other sport can boast. There's no men's basketball preseason tournament where we see people who are in the Elite Eight going after it again. They need to have their warm-up games. That's what they all do. They'll play someone in state or they'll go to Hawaii, and no knock against them whatsoever. But I really like what the volleyball community is doing. They're just going head on. And I think that's something that volleyball is special with, because there are not a lot of plays that you need to install. Don't get me wrong, there are plays in volleyball, on free ball plays, in serve receive, but the install is different. It really is just seeing who can go ball out. So I'm excited for it, especially excited for this Wisconsin-Kentucky matchup. So Kentucky loses Eva Hudson, who was incredible, if you can remember, from the game where the Badgers lost in the NCAA tournament. She's ABCA National Player of the Year finalist. I just remember watching and think, this girl is unstoppable. We can't do anything. She's so fun to watch down the stretch of the NCAA tournament, and Kentucky's losing her, which Badger fans are rejoicing. Moving on to who they might have filling in for her, I will say this is going to be an interesting matchup. We have Morgan Gardy. She's a Notre Dame transfer. She's a 6'5" outside. And in the volleyball world, we are not seeing very many super lanky 6'5", 6'6" outside hitters, because they have to have ball control. They need to make sure they can pass into system. And really a lot of those outsides are the more athletic builds who are going to be all around the court. Morgan Gardy, All-American, coming over, playing for Kentucky. The Badgers are definitely going to have to game plan for that. They also have the ABCA Freshman of the Year, who's Cassie O'Brien, their setter. So Kentucky is going to be an insane game. The Badger fans have talked about, or the Badger players have talked about how excited they are to be able to have this rematch right away. And I think it's probably given them a lot of gusto going into the preseason, the season, knowing this is their first one slated up. Moving on to Louisville, I mean, Louisville is just a top-notch program. They have been for a while since they won that national championship. And one thing that I will say about Louisville is their ball control is very, very, very good. They have some undersized outside hitters, but if the Badgers can't finish balls, Louisville might win a lot of those longer points just because of how good those 6 players are at keeping the ball off the floor. So I'm excited for it. Serving is going to be extremely, extremely important this weekend. And double Grace. Now, I'm not sure if we'll see Grace Lopez doing that top spin serve in the regular season. I'm hoping so, if she did it in the exhibition matches. But if we can serve well, if we can get these top-notch teams out of system, I think our blocking is good enough that we'll be able to take control of a lot of these sets, hopefully down the stretch.
For Badger fans tuning in or coming to the match, what's something that they should look at under the radar, either player or storyline? How would they know early on this is going well for Wisconsin?
The number one thing that Wisconsin needs to do is pass in system. We have one of the best, if not the best, setter in the country in Charlie Furbringer, who is the number one leader on this team. She holds them together. She talks about how she's a come with me leader. And the thing about setters is if you're not passing well, there is no way that the setter can run the offense that they are All-American, they are the best at, if you're not passing in system. So Kelly has talked about passing stats. And I think this is an interesting thing. Now, this isn't going to be public, like we're not going to get these stats as the public. We might be able to ask Kelly about them post game. But if we're passing between 2-3, 2-4, Badger fans will know that we're in a really good spot. Now, breaking that down really quickly, there are 3 types of passes: 1 pass, 2 pass, and a 3 pass. Now, in order for them to get that score, you add all of them together throughout the match and then get somebody's average. So Anna Bardaro passed I think a 2-4 in the Italian League, which is absolutely incredible. That means that there were 2 options for Charlie or 3 options for Charlie most of every single time she ever passed. If it's a 1 pass, that means Charlie's all the way off the net. There's only 1 hitter that she can really go to. So that's really getting into the statistics, and I don't mean to do that, too aggressively for the casual Badger fan, but just know that if we are passing Charlie on the net in system where she's able to make options on all 3 hitters, she's going to be able to run a really efficient offense. And I think Badger fans will be able to see some win columns as well.
No, that was a phenomenal answer. I think the casual fan or the fan that's a little deeper into it is going to get something out of that no matter what. So that was awesome. And I thought you made a really good point, by the way, with the impressiveness of the volleyball community putting this together and comparing it to basketball. It would be like if you had an opening season tournament with UConn, Kentucky, Duke, Wisconsin, Michigan. That would be what this is. And I thought that was a really good point. Really well said. All right, we're going to take a quick second because we got to talk about this roster. New faces, players come back from injury, transfer portal, a couple stalwarts returning. I need Kate to tell me where to put who, if she can. To do something in life. Let's be honest, we should all be doing more in life. Like, life is short. You work hard. Go do something amazing. Go to a volleyball match. Go to a Badgers basketball game this season. Get to the camp. Let's do something fun, and let's do it together over on Game Time. Find those tickets. The best, easiest process. Pictures before you sit down. Great pricing. No hidden fees. That's one of my pet peeves in life. Like, I'll think I do something well, and I'm like, look at this price I got. I'll tell my wife, I got this great price, and then it'll be like, bam, 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 hidden fees. And I'll be like, I failed again. Game Time doesn't do that to you. No hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with every type of event over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. All right, let's come back in with Kate. Again, incredibly appreciative of the time. I know you got a bunch of spinning plates, so we'll get you out of here kind of on this discussion. First of all, where can people find you, the work that you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram or on Twitter at Kate Fox Sports. I also work for Wisco Sports Zone. So that's a Madison radio station, but we have affiliates all over the state. We are in Madison at 96.7 or 1670 AM. And then you can also find me at Badger Volleyball games. I am the in-game host. So that's a lot of the more fun things during the game, like some sort of basket toss or something with the competitors between sets. So that is a little bit less of the broadcasting side of me and more of the fun hosting. But make sure you come say hi and chat about this podcast or any questions you have. I always love to talk about the Badgers and Badger volleyball because at the end of the day, that's how I grew up. And I just love the Badgers. So really excited about this. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. Give me kind of the quick thoughts on this roster. And it feels like there's a lot of pieces that could go in a lot of places.
Now, there's so much to unpack here, and I don't even know that Kelly knows what his starting lineup is going to be come this weekend, and especially he doesn't know what his starting lineup is going to be come, the end of the fall into the NCAA tournament and potentially the Big Ten tournament as well before that. I am really interested in a couple different positions. The first one is the libero position. We have a very, very interesting battle between two completely different people with completely different backgrounds. So Kristen Simon, Badger fans know her. She was the freshman libero, a true freshman libero, and just did a stand-up job on a team that went far in the NCAA tournament. She was never flashy. She just did her job, and she came in and competed. And a Louisville native, she is very solid. And I don't think anyone's going to look at her and say her platform isn't good or she doesn't read the ball well. She reads the ball so well that she's in positions that she doesn't have to make those insane plays to get them up because she's already there. So Badger fans have nothing to complain about with Kristen Simon. She's incredible. Now, we had a lot of transfers in that DS position, and that left us with only Kristen Simon on the roster going into the spring. We picked up Anna Bardaro from the Italian professional league. So out of all of the leagues in this entire world, what volleyball professionals think is the best league is the A1 league in Italy. Now, you can go play in that at any point. And Anna's been playing in that since for the last 2 years. So she has experience with that. Now, the reason you might be asking why she's able to go from professional volleyball to now play collegiately is because in that league, they don't play their liberos or they don't pay them very well. So she was under that cap where she's able to go come over to Wisconsin and play here. She is interesting to me where she has experience playing against the best players in the world, maybe even a little higher of a level than what she'll see in NCAA volleyball. Now, as a coach, I'm looking at that as one, do I want to mess up what I already have? We have only a couple returners who are going to be on this roster anyways, in this lineup anyways. Why would I change Kristen Simon out of something that she did a phenomenal job at? But on the other end, we're playing all the top 10 schools in the country this year, and we need to step up our game. And if we want to compete for a national championship and go places we've never been, Anna might be the number one thing that could help us do that. And Charlie Furbringer said that Anna is one of the best platforms she's ever seen in the country, which means on those serve-receive balls, she's able to make the angles and control the ball in ways that people haven't seen. Even on defense, she's able to get under balls and really control it to Charlie. So the libero position for me, I don't have an answer. I wish I did. If I'll do not a hot take, but I'll just go with someone. I would love to see Anna Bardaro start with it and have Kristen Simon be a DS. Now in the exhibition match, I always say exhibition match against Butler, they were actually passing with two, which is something I would absolutely love to see. No matter who gets the libero jersey, if that DS is playing for the outside in 3 of the rotations, they'll have the opportunity to pass it to and take all of the hitters out of the occasion. What am I saying? Take all equation. When the hitters are out of the equation, they are able to only focus on hitting, not have to pass, not have to transition. And there can be a lot of different plays that come from that. So I'm hoping that we see them pass it too. Not sure who we're going to see put on the libero jersey for the Badgers. So that's my number one biggest question with this lineup so far. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or anything you saw from the alumni game.
No, that was tremendous. Is it? And you mentioned it last year. There wasn't depth at that position really anyway. So I talk about it a little bit on the Badger football side where Badger fans are worried, well, is Ryan Hopkins going to need to play more? Are you worried? It's a good problem. This is a good problem to have, right? Like multiple options is a good thing because people get hurt, people get dinged up. Different matchups are different, right? Certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes people have a day and people don't. And going back to that football comparison, you're not going to take out Colton Joseph just because he's having a tough day, right? Like Ryan Hopkins isn't just going to be like, oh, actually, he's having a tough one. He's going to start next game, but we're just going to put him in for a couple downs, make sure he gets some rest. In volleyball, that is something that people absolutely do. Nebraska, one of the best teams, the best team in the country, played with 2 liberos last year. So that is something that we could do. We could play with 2 liberos. I don't see Kelly doing that just because that takes them out of the equation for going into the back row as a DS, and we want them to be able to play at the same time.
Coming right back with the great Kate Fox to talk about this volleyball roster. But first, have you heard about our tremendous friends over at Kalshi? The NFL season's almost here, ladies and gentlemen. We are close. We are on the precipice, and everybody's going to make their predictions. Who's going to win the division? Is your team going to win this amount of games? Who's going to hoist the trophy at the end of it all? Right now, head over to Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, and you can trade those predictions in a live market. Green Bay Packers, 10-plus wins. That's trading at 62% right now, which means a $100 trade would pay out $162.11 if they reach that 10-plus wins mark. So if you're in on the Packers, it's a great way to go do it and show that type of support. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there is absolutely no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of that position. Trade the draft, pick the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app. Use code LOCKEDON for $10 to get $10 when you trade $10. That's Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, visit kalshi.com/regulatory. Let me ask you really quick on the way out, and again, incredibly appreciative of the time. This has been awesome. A couple of injury things. You had Grace Lopez on the roster last year, right? But obviously coming back off that injury, and we saw her in the exhibition game. But I don't know, is she fully back? Do you think?
I have a really tough time telling. Grace Lopez looked great when she was playing, but they only gave her 1 set. Now, I don't know that we'll be able to just throw her into the fire against the #3 and the #7 team in the country. And with the firepower that's on our team and our schedule that includes lots and lots of big-time matchups, there really is no need in my mind for her to come back any earlier than she needs to. We are going to have tons of opportunities to show the national volleyball stage what Badger volleyball is all about. And from what I've seen from her, I don't know that they're going to push her back into it, especially with an ACL. I'd love to see her play. I think it completely changes everything. If she goes onto the right side, as she will, that moves Grace Egan over to the outside and takes away one of those new outside positions from someone like Aubrey Flanagan, Madison Quest, potentially. So I like that move. I like Grace Egan on the outside. I want to see Grace Lopez playing right side, but if I'm a Badger fan, I'm not upset if we don't see her out there this weekend.
And then the other one is Jayla Auguste, transfer coming in. We did not see her in the exhibition game, but that's a lot of firepower too. Like it's a big time get. Where is she at right now?
She is going to be one of the most exciting players that we have seen, one of the most explosive players we've seen on that court in a long time. Now, they've been a little hush-hush with her injury. They're not saying much about what it is, when she's coming back. They're like, oh, it's just not a long-term thing. So we can rest assured knowing that we will see her on the court here coming up. And Kelly has said she is a middle that we haven't seen in a long time. So Carter Booth, incredible middle that we had last year for the Badgers. She's one of the more lanky middles. She's going to get up. She's going to hit above people because she's taller than people. She gets up, but it's not that level of explosivity. Going back to the football similarities, this is like a wide receiver who can get up above the secondary and go get one of those balls. This is someone that you watch and you're like, I want that guy to get so many of our passes, so many receptions, just because he's so fun to watch. And that's what Jayla Auguste is going to be for us. So I'm super, super excited for her. She is just going to be firepower. She is also not very injury prone. So this is not like her. Knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood right now in the studio. She played every single match her sophomore year, last year at Florida, and then played every single match the year before and just didn't start as many. So she's somebody that can be counted on for the most part on the injury front. So just hoping to have her back, and would love to see it this week, of course, opening weekend, such a fun time out in Milwaukee, but also would really like to see her play against the team she transferred from, Florida, when we come back to the Fieldhouse in September.
Yeah, that's really well said. She is Kate Fox. Awesome insight. Thank you for jumping on. Big weekend coming up for Badgers Volleyball. I'm sure everybody's going to want to tune in. Kate, thank you again so much.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Ryan. Looking forward to doing this again sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. On Wisconsin, and we'll definitely talk to all of y'all tomorrow.